When a Daughters of the American Revolution chapter neglected to do its annual commemoration of Paul Revere's famous ride, the Young Communist League hired a writer dressed him up like a Minuteman and had him gallop up and down Broadway with a sign reading, "The DAR forgets, but the YCL remembers." That's pretty.
See,
dope.
that's pretty
Yeah.
clever. I do think
Yeah.
obviously communism is 20th century Americanism is a bit ham-fisted, but the DAR forgets, but the YCL remembers. That's good.
Yeah, that was, to me, that cynical and ham-fisted, right?
Yeah.
Like, obviously, the communists of the time had no problem with the idea of creating a workers' republic in the United States of America and maintaining the trappings of the United States of America as they developed a workers' republic. But, using sort of nationalist rhetoric like that was disingenuous, I think.
Yeah. And I do think that the idea of salvaging Americanism, like that, there's an Americanism, that's
Yeah.
it's a little bit, it's silly.
Woolly-headed.
That's right. Those motherfuckers are woolly-headed.
Woolly-headed ass motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Let's see. Less ridiculously, beyond its key role in trade union organizing, the party engaged with New Deal sentiments and ideas, and shaped a broader left liberal movement throughout its front groups such as the National Negro Congress and the American Student Union. The CPUSA amassed not just 85,000 members, but a much larger network of fellow travelers. Communists came to play a prominent role in American cinema, music, and the arts. From the domestic fights against racism and for union rights to support the Spanish Republican cause abroad, communists were seen as defenders of democracy, even as news of Soviet purges trickled in. Yeah, I mean, like, the communists, the Popular Front was massive, and it contained, like, outright communists and people who didn't actually join the Communist Party, but affiliated to the communists themselves as allies and fellow travelers. And that's the difference now. Like, in the in the U.S. now, you're a communist if you say so and put it in your Twitter bio. Sort of like a Protestant version of becoming a Christian.
Yeah, like if you decide that you're a
personal
communist,
savior. Yeah.
Yeah, then you are.
And whereas back then, you were a communist if you joined the Communist Party, or if you joined a party of communists of some sort, right? And then if you were like, you agreed with the Communist Party but didn't join, you were just a fellow traveler.
Right. And there were lots of fellow travelers. I feel like I read this somewhere. I think around 1940, Earl Browder had said something like, maybe as many as 1 million people have passed through the ranks of the Communist Party. And that's
wild.
I don't know if that's it's not necessarily good. That means maybe you shouldn't be able to join or leave so easily. But on the other hand, this says a whole lot about the scale of the CP's influence, the gravitational pull. That if you were democratically minded, if you were in favor of union rights, if you wanted, if you had concerns for, Ethiopia or whatever, like the CP was not just not to be ignored, but like I said, like people wanted to join it. I think it is a good thing to be that appealing. We should be so lucky.
Yeah. If the CP went too far in dissolving its identity, the Socialist Party offers an example of how badly the opposite approach could go. The SP recaptured some of its former prominence under Norman Thomas, a former Presbyterian minister, cut in the figure of Eugene V. Debs, who was able to win a close to 900,000 votes in his 1932 presidential run. The party attracted not just young leftists navigating between the social democratic reformism and revolutionary Leninism, but extremely talented union organizers such as Walter and Victor Reuther or Reuther?
I think it's Reuther.
Reuther would be the German pronunciation, but I guess it's probably Reuther because we're in America now. But Thomas and most of the Socialist Party clung to its Debsian-era strategy of opposition to bourgeois reformers. Class independence was paramount. Thomas saw the New Deal as a program that makes concessions to workers in order to keep them quiet a while longer and so stabilize the power of private owners. I mean, he's not wrong. That is absolutely what it was. No doubt this was true, but these reforms didn't placate workers. They led them to demand more. Yeah, exactly. I mean, that was the strategy that was adopted by American Trotskyism around this time, as well as the CP. I think of Leninism, official Leninism and its offshoots adopted the New Deal is clearly meant to placate workers and stabilize the situation for a while longer, but with the eating comes the appetite. So
That's right.
yeah.
Um, yeah, I think there were a couple of years where the DSA and Jacobin institutions, which were very, very they were they were like they had fond memories of the New Deal. They talked about it a lot, and I know that there were some people in the movement at large that saw this as a negative. But again, I think maybe they went too far in one direction. Maybe they were too uncritical. But I think the fundamental premise is correct. I think that the New Deal kind of raised the horizons of workers, and then
Right.
communists within the New Deal coalition, organized that sentiment toward some really good ends, actually.
Well, I guess to keep within our tradition of nuance maxing on this TV show, we're not a TV show, on this
Not
very
yet.
poorly done TV show. It's no video feed whatsoever.
It's poorly done
just
TV
talking.
show because you can only hear it.
Yeah, you can only hear it, and it's not on the TV. I guess you could probably put it on your TV. Anyway, yeah, I mean, like, clearly the SP was right, and I think clearly the CP really did lose much of its identity by dissolving itself into this popular front with the Democratic Party, and I think that's what we, whenever we criticize the Popular Front on this show, most of what we talk about is how the Popular Front is supposed to be led by the communists. The communists aren't supposed to dissolve themselves into, a bourgeois coalition, right? And I think
Yeah.
that's definitely a criticism that you could level at the New Deal coalition here and communist CP popular frontism of the 1930s.
Yeah, and I think that there are lots of us who are not just critical but opposed to and dismissive of popular fronts of the Popular Front as a strategy, as a thing that you should ever do. I don't share their opinion, but I understand the reasons why such criticism exists in the first place.
Yeah, I understand it. Absolutely, I do.
I mean, I used to think that way. I actually used to be very
absolutely.
opposed
So
to
did
it.
I. Yeah, back in my trot days. Whatever President Franklin D. Roosevelt's intentions, millions believed that he wanted them to join a union and thought that they deserved a decent paying job and some social protections. Yeah, that was a CP slogan back then. Your parents. God damn. Your president wants you to join a union.
Yeah, that's very, very it's just very intelligent
Right.
strategy, as it were.
Yep. These American workers began to demand things of the state for the first time, and the Socialist Party told them that they were going about it the wrong way. As a result of the gap between the SP's stance and the beliefs of the workers they organized, socialist leaders like the UAW's Reuther Brothers, the Amalgamated Clothing Workers Union Leo Korzybski, and Hosiery Workers Union Emil Reeve resigned from the party. In the 1936 presidential election, workers around the country were making a rational decision to support the Democratic Party, hungry to continue Roosevelt's reforms and reorganizing the institutional barriers to independent politics. Thomas's cohort couldn't offer a strategy to overcome any of these barriers or even a way not to counterpose themselves to the best New Deal reforms. They just had slogans about opposing capitalist parties. Ironically, the more fringe Communist Party was better able to relate to Roosevelt's supporters.
Yeah,
Of
I actually
course.
think that's a very that is an under I don't know a good way an under-tarried with lesson in history. People should really spend time on this because there's if nothing else, there's a lot of debate to be had.
Of course, in aligning with Democrats, the Popular Front CPUSA hid its socialist identity. When forced to reveal it, the party pointed to an authoritarian Soviet Union as its model. A month before the infamous 1939 Hitler-Stalin non-aggression pact, Browder said, "There is as much chance of Russo-German agreement as of Earl Browder being elected president of the Chamber of Commerce." But when the word of the accord came, the CP adopted a new line without debate. The party's key allies were permanently alienated and its moral authority tarnished. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's yeah, I mean the non-aggression pact between Hitler and Stalin is, I think, unfairly maligned at the same time that it is criticized with good points. Like, clearly the Soviet Union sought an alliance against Germany with the West and was turned down by France and by Great Britain before signing a non-aggression pact with Germany. Like, the British and the French gave up Czechoslovakia to Germany, and it looked like they were just going to keep rolling over for Germany forever. And they did roll over against their will for the first part of the war. But yeah, I mean, like, Stalin knew that war with Germany was coming and, wanted to buy some time. So I understand that portion of it. The portion that I don't understand and that is totally unforgivable and never going to be okay is the way that the Stalinists deported German communists back to Germany.
yeah, and it's also I think the way that the communist parties of this kind of late era Comintern, which is like so not just loyal, but like they had ceased all independent thought. So like when Earl Browder says there's as much a chance, basically that there's no chance of this happening, that made sense because that just seemed like such a crazy thing. But then when the accord came, A, it happened totally over the heads of people like Earl Browder, and then B, there was like no discussion, no debate. They were just like, oh, great, now we have a non-aggression pact. It was like night and day. The switch flipped from one to the next, and like the fact that the party's key allies, what it says, were permanently alienated, that makes a lot of sense to me. I think that it's really unthinkable that it would happen in any other way.
Yeah, we're big critics of the Comintern on this show. At least Jason and I are. I think that rather than the workers' revolution being able to develop and organize on its own, and with workers' organizations affiliating to the Comintern organically, there were artificially sort of created parties that were not really useful to the workers' movement of these countries, created by the Comintern with like rules to in order to be able to affiliate to the Comintern that actually neutered these parties. Like specifically the one in the United States is what I was thinking of, but I think the better example would be the Czech Communist Party, which split from the bigger and more powerful. Well, actually, sorry, was similar to the party in the United States, was the sort of majority faction in the Socialist Party, split from the Socialist Party in order to be able to affiliate to the Comintern. In the process of this messy split, they lost their majority. A lot of people were like, no, wait, we're part of the Socialist Party. We don't want to go start a new party. Even though they were agreed with the aims of the Communist Party, they reaffiliated to the Socialist Party, and it ended up being a small minority in parliament that had no power and was forced by the Comintern to work in coalition with the Socialist Party. Yeah. So instead of being able to take the lead in the Socialist Party and democratically move the Socialist Party in a direction that would be more beneficial to the workers and maybe even to workers' revolution, they split from that party and then became a junior partner of it. And I guess the biggest problem is that the official Socialist Party didn't change its name to Communist and wouldn't openly eschew reformism in favor of revolution. So instead, they eschewed reformism in favor of revolution, lost the majority, became a junior partner, and it had to adopt reformism in order to be relevant. Yeah, so that's
that's pretty much what happened to the American Party too.
Yeah, that's it. That's pretty much the example of this like sort of authoritarian sort of top-down management of the world workers movement by the Comintern. And of course, the Comintern has its like glorious period as well. Its heroic period its heroic acts as well. But there are many examples like this. So that's why I say that we're critics of the Comintern on this show. I mean, it's not that we disagree with the concept of world revolution or anything like that. It's that we disagree with the concept of a centrally organized and directed world workers movement.
Yeah, I think the World Party of Revolution is a mistake in terms of a model like that. The Comintern, I think, honestly, I think the Comintern was a mistake.
Yes. Okay. When Nazi Germany invaded the Soviet Union in June of 1941, the party evolved the Popular Front into an even more extreme Democratic Front policy. Yeah, so the Popular Front, I think, ceases to be a useful tool when it becomes the Democratic Front. That's when it just absorbs itself wholesale into Democratic Party apparatuses. The communist
I actually think that the blending of these two distinct theoretical conceptions into one is a source of a lot of issues. There is the Popular Front, then there's the Democratic Front, and then of course there's also as a feature of the need for war against the German occupiers, there's also the National Front, and these things are not all the same thing.
Right.